We can find the contributed packages in the following link: CRAN R project web packages. The list of available packages is here. Okay, we can go ahead. Related directories are here. Table of available packages sorted by name and sorted by publication. You can click whatever link you wanted to. Depending on your network connection, it will take some time. It will provide us the number of available packages date wise. Uh, Various programmers are working on these packages. Around 15,775 packages are there for R. Okay, so now we are not going to discuss any packages here. We have another option to download and install package. Here in this window, we have files, plots, and package. Out of them, here is install package. We just have to click it. It's taking some time. Okay. Now, suppose we have to download some mass package. And we can install it from install. Install from repository can, which we have visited earlier. Okay. And after install, it will get installed and listed here. You can observe mass package will have be downloaded somewhere in this window. Okay, installing is another thing, and to get available in the library. What library actually is? Suppose we have that function f1, if, else, print. These are all functions are defined and available in R in some packages. Okay, now we have to use some functions from mass package. So we have to load that mass package here. Loading mass package or loading any package is quite simple. We just have to click on this. Look for the command library bracket mass, and where we can find the mass package, it's available in the following link: C program files R400 library. Likewise, it will take some time to load some functions related with R, related with that mass package. Updating loaded package. So we need to restart. To update the loaded package, we need to restart R. I will do that. Until it gets restart, we will move toward our next topic, that's graph in R. Graphical representation is another way of analyzing numerical data. A graph is a sort of a chart through which statistical data are represented in the form of lines, curves, drawn across coordinated points plotted on its surface. Graphs enables us in studying the cause and effect relationship between two or more variables. Graphs help to measure the extent of change in one variable when another variable changes by certain amount. Okay, there are various graphs available in R. Out of them, I am going to focus on mainly on five charts. First one is a pie chart. Second one is a bar chart. Third one is a box plot. Fourth histogram, and last one is scatter plot. Okay. Moving towards the pie chart, a pie chart is a representation of values as slice of a circle like a pizza, okay, with different colors. The slices are labeled and the numbers corresponding to each slice is also represented in the chart. The basic syntax of pie is simple. You have to put your data, in variable, some variable x, provide the labels, for example Let's take this example. Represent the following data by pie diagram. Uh, Here is the list of item: food, clothing, recreation, Indian rent and Indian something must be there, rent and miscellaneous. Expenditure 87, 24, 11, 13, 25. So now we have to find out how much we have expenditure on food and clothing, their proportion. So for this, the pie chart is very good example. Okay, so here what we can do, we can store this 87, 24, 11, 13, 25, 20 in variable x. We can store the labels in food, clothing, in suppose in item, expenditure in exp command. I should have used another variable name, as exp is already uh, built-in function, so that's my mistake. Radius, it is the radius for that pie chart circle. Of course, it is optional. Title of the chart main, color, whatever color you wanted to give that. Okay, and whether it do you want it clockwise or anti-clockwise, so it is true or false type. Here is the code. Okay, let's move for this graphical representation using R software. Here are the list of items: 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, 87 24 11. Variable containing the values. Main, that main is for the title one. Okay, labels, these are the labels. Radius and color, it is not necessary that you will use that rainbow. Okay, let's use that. Okay, I will run this item, expenditure, now pie. So we got that pie diagram here. Okay, uh, if we haven't used that rainbow, will it make much difference too? Let's verify this, as we have to provide some colors. So 1 to up to length of expenditure, whatever it is. Control enter. So it is providing some colors there. If you want to change the radius, observe the changes here. Mhm. Expenditure etc something, whatever. It actually changes the graphs title here. Okay, you can find help by the question mark here and enter. Pi, x labels, edges, radius, clockwise or anti-clockwise, like this. Okay, so we have it also provided some examples here. Here, see this example. In this command, they have used actually colors, purple, green, and all that. Okay, so we can go ahead, see this example, solve as many as examples as you can. Okay, let's move for the another chart. Bar chart. A bar chart represents data in a rectangular bars with length of bar as proportional to the value of the variables. R can draw vertical as well as horizontal bars. Okay, the basic syntax to create a bar chart is simple. As the name suggests, bar chart. So the function is bar plot. H, it will provide H as the variables, values in the variables, X labels and Y labels, title of the main plot. Okay, let's move. Names dot arguments will provide the names where we want to plot, and the names of that bars actually. And last one is the color for each variable, each bar. Okay, the following table gives the average approximate yield of a rice in kilogram per acre in the various states of India in 2003 and 4. Punjab, Haryana, UP, Gujarat, Bihar, and Karnataka. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have x is equal to states, 6 states are there, and their average approximate yield y is equal to by C 728 to up to 2020 2276. Okay, now we have x, we have y. We can go ahead by using the function bar plot. Y values names dot argument is equal to x. Okay, color is equal to red. Okay, so all bars will be red colored, border will be blue, name of the plot, main plot, is equal to yield of a rice per kg per acre in various states of India. X labels is equal to states and Y labels is equal to yield. Let's move to R. I think I have plotted it. Yes, and bar plot. Look whatever we have done it here. Bar plot is red colored. Borders of that bars are blue colored. Okay. Y label is yield. X label is states. And names arguments are Punjab, Haryana, UP, Gujarat, Bihar, and Karnataka. And the main plot has yield of rice in kg per acre in various states in India. Go ahead, find question mark and bar plot. You will get the help from here. Height, width, space, name argument, legend, text. You can find whatever you want it here. Okay. Here are some examples which you may find it useful. Okay. Let's go ahead for another plot. Oh, if we have grouped data, represent the given data by faculty wise, distribution of students by multiple bar chart. So multiple bar chart is also a bar chart but with a groups. So we have 4 colleges and 3 faculties. So faculty wise distribution of students is there. So we want to plot this. So first we have to use college. So CLG is a variable storing 4 names of that colleges. Then faculty is a variable containing 3 faculty names. Okay, we will put this table in a matrix. We have already gone through the command of matrix. Matrix is equal to C. We need data. So 1200, 600, 500. Row wise, I have stored all the values. Number of rows is equal to 4. Okay. Bar plot that matrix. Okay. Name arguments. Color for 3 faculties. 1, 2, 3. Legend. I need that legend faculty. Faculty should be the legend. X label, that is a college, and Y label as number of students. Let's move college, faculty, matrix, what it actually stored. This is the matrix. Okay. Control N. Here we can observe the multiple bar chart where the dark for college A, black color is for arts, This is for science, this is for commerce purpose. And here we can also compare faculty wise and also for the different colleges. For example, for college C, we has number of science students maximum than any other colleges uh, in that district or state, whatever. Okay. And for arts faculty, student prefer college A. That is the use of multiple bar chart. Okay. Let's go ahead. We will go for the next plot. That's box plot. What is box plot? Box plot are a measure of how well distributed is the data in the data set. So we are going to observe its distribution. It divides the data set into three quartiles. This graph represents minimum, maximum, median, first quartile and third quartile. Plus, if there are some outliers, these outlier will be represented by star. It is also useful for the comparing the distribution of data across the data sets by drawing box plot for each of them. Suppose we have a math test result for class of 15 students. Here are the results. Now, plotting box plot is quite simple. We just have to put that variables in sub vector x and go ahead and plot box plot here. I think I forgot to copy. So let's move to R. Let's put this x values uh, in vector and find the box plot. Go ahead. I have entered that value x here and I will go for a box plot of that x. Now look at this. This is the box plot. Around 80, the mean of that vector is around 80. Okay. So the 50 observations are here. Minimum, maximum are noted by that horizontal line. There is no outlier observation there. I think I should put one outlier there. Just putting one outlier will not make much difference, but it will show us by star or by circle. This is the outlier observations. 180 is outlier, as near about 100% or mostly 90% data is here, and only one observation is here. So we can treat it as a outlier and may find the results. Okay. Now what happened? Many times we just need to compare two groups were different or not. Suppose there are eight male student and seven female student in that group out of that 15 student. Um, eight are male and seven are female. Then to compare both, we can go ahead use that repeat command and factor. Now, y is now the gender for all that values whose x we have already in a vector x. Okay. Now box plot can be drawn by x curl y. That is the grouping variable. Okay. See what happens here. Now here you can observe that as this is the only sample data, mean of the male students having score above 80 is higher comparative to female students. Likewise, and the spread of mathematics marks of male student is also quite large comparative to female student. Obviously, it is not a real observation; it's just the sample as we are going to compare the box plot here. Okay, this is the case. Let's move for the another plot, histogram. Histogram refers to the visual representation used for summarizing the discrete or the continuous data. Every bar grouped into ranges in histogram. A histogram depicts the spread and shape of the continuous given data set or the given sample data. Let's take an example. Mr. Larry, a famous doctor, is conducting research on the height of the student studying in 8th standard. He has gathered a sample of 15 students but wants to know which is the maximum category, which maximum category is where they belong. Okay, these are the 15 observation. Store it in heights. Command use command hist. Hist is for histogram. Okay, heights is the data. Breaks, suppose 141 or 138 is a minimum quantity and 152 is maximum quantity, then this spread is divided into three equal parts, so breaks is equal to 3. Okay, let's move to the R code. It will be better for us. Run that heights. Okay, find hist. Look, what we have done, we put breaks is equal to 3. So it divided the whole data with 3 breaks, 1, 2, and 3. Now what happens is when we increase the size of the break, for example 4 or put it as 5, okay, it will increase the number of groups, 138, 140, 142, 142, likewise. Okay, that's just simple. And for continuous case it will be useful to draw the density function here, uh, to observe whether your data is symmetric or not. Observe its spread. Okay, it is mesocultic or platocultic, you can use histogram for that. Okay, another plot is scatter plot. Scatter plot shows many points plotted in a Cartesian plane. Each point represents the values of two variables, one variable chosen in a horizontal axis and another in a vertical axis. The basic syntax is plot x versus y. Okay, and other values, other arguments are similar as previous one. Main for title of the plot, x label, x limit, y limit, and the axis one. Okay, let's plot scatter plot for height and weight. Okay, it is actually useful for drawing confusion about the relationship between x and y. Okay, many times while plotting regression analysis, we use simple linear regression model. We use scatter plot first and observe that whether there is a linear relationship between these two variables, and then we move forward for the regression line. Now let's plot. We have to put height and weight here as x and y. Height, put that height in a vector height, put it weight in a weight vector. Use plot command, plot height, that's x, weight, that's y. Height versus weight, that is the title of. I will not go ahead and plot, give x label, y label. Okay, you can understand it. Here is our height, weight plot. This is scatter. Okay, haven't we given that main? Okay, go ahead, write main is equal to height versus weight. You can choose whatever you want. It shows. Okay, you can store this as image or as PDF or copy to clipboard. While copying to clipboard, if you are using Word, you can copy paste it here, or you can save it as image and then as PNG or JPG must be their image format. JPG, DI, PMF, these are all available formats. Save this and then you can use whatever in place you want to put it. Okay, here is the file name rplot.png. Location will be desktop. Data analysis using R, which is my directory. You can change that directory from here only. Okay, similarly you can go for saving as PDF. instead of using image. If you want it as a PDF, you can draw that. Let's move. uh, Brief functions for descriptive statistics. As we have already discussed in that inbuilt function and user defined functions, we have discussed mean there, variance, minimum, maximum, median, range, quantile, summary. IQR, this is the interquartile range between third quartile and first quartile. Okay. Moving forward for the testing of hypothesis, let's move for the test for population mean. Rather, I will go for the one sample t-test. Okay. To test population mean, mu be regarded as mu naught. That's our m. Mu is equal to mu naught based on the random sample.
Okay, moving forward, what are the assumptions? The population from which the sample drawn is assumed to be normal. The population variance, sigma square, is unknown. As the variance is unknown, we have to estimate it by using the sample variance. Another thing is it is not really necessary to have sample drawn from normal distribution. Many times if your sample size is quite large, that's n is greater than 30, then normality, asymptotic normality will achieve there. Okay, but if the data is of categorical type or binary type, don't go for one sample t-test. Okay, here is the average salary offered at the top. Okay, the average salary offered at top by business schools in previous year was given. Okay, 750,000 maybe per annum. Okay, assess the validity of claim made by a business school in its advertisement. Okay, um, suppose their advertisement is that their alumni are getting salaries are around 750, mean salaries around 750K. Okay, now we have some observations here. Okay, and we have to go for the one sample t-test. So let's move. The R code is quite simple. Just put all the values of variables in X. T dot test X, which is vector of values, mu, which you wanted to test, 750, and confidence level, that's 0.95, as many times we assume alpha is equal to 5%. Okay, let's move for the R. So moving forward, here is our X values, salaries of that students. Okay, let's run this, control enter. The another thing is T dot test X mu confidence interval or confidence level 0.95. Okay, now we got the result. Look at this level. One sample t test. We got t value minus 2.46. P value is 0.02. It's less than alpha, so we need to reject H naught. That true mean is around 750. The true mean is not equal to 750. Okay, the mean value of X is 730. Okay, we can go ahead and find what is the syntax and other sample examples for the t-test by using help command. We have t.test default. uh, okay, why null alternative? We haven't seen alternative here. Okay, if the user wants to check whether null hypothesis that mu is equal to 750 and alternative hypothesis is mu is less than or equal to actually mu naught, so in that case we can use alternative as less than type. Let me check this, comma alternative equal to less. Okay, let's verify this. True mean is less than 750. Okay, so that mu is equal to mu naught is not true. Alternative hypothesis is accepted. Okay, so the look at this 95% confidence interval minus infinity to 738. In previous case, when we are dealing with the two-sided case, that confidence interval might be 683 to 743. Okay, that is the case. So let's move. We can see that actually for one sample two test, two sample t test, whether variance is equal or not, or pair t test. For all the four cases, we have to use only t dot test. This is the only test. Okay, from that test you can observe that they have paired. If data is paired, write that option paired is equal to true. If you are not dealing with a paired observation and you are dealing with a two two sample t-test, then you have to put x here, you have to put y here. Both two samples are entered in x and y. Okay, then variance is equal or not, you can enter it here. That's the case. So for one sample, two sample, pair t-test, we have to use the same command. Just go for the another options. Let's move for the another test. Test for equality of two population means. Obviously, there are two cases with equal variance and unequal variances. Okay. Now, for the equal variance case, we have to use pooled variance, and for unequal variances, we estimate variances separately and then compile them. Okay, what is the aim? To test the population mean are equal or not based on the two random samples. Assumptions again, normal distribution, the two population variances equal and known, which is denoted by sigma square. Unequal, both are actually unknown. I made mistake there, it should be unknown, denoted by sigma square. If they are equal, denoted by sigma square. If they are unequal, denoted by sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square. That will not make much difference. Okay, let's take an example. Assess whether the efficiency of workers of two mines, mine 1 and mine 2, is same or not using the sample of sizes 20 and 22. Okay, so we have the sample of workers uh, and their efficacy measure. They haven't given the mean or unit. It's okay. We have to verify mu1 is equal to mu2. So we have to use that x is equal to 48 to 51, y is equal to 42 to 41, or okay, mine 1, mine 2. That's simple. T dot test, again that same command, mine 1, mine 2. No need to provide mu, as we have to verify mu1 is equal to mu2. Variance equal, assume variance are equal here. I haven't given any confidence interval. Let's see what actually it prints. Moving towards R. No need for the help right now. Mine 1, mine 2, and t-test. Okay, if you think that the variance is not equal, you can go ahead and print variance dot equal is equal to false. Okay, p-value is 0.01243. That's rejection not. And in even in this case, so mine 1 and mine 2, their means are not equal. Might be possible that one is from private industry and one is for the government industry. That may be the case. Okay, looking forward, let's move. Test for paired observations. Paired observation, many times while in teaching we observe before teaching something, before applying some test, and after applying some test in clinical trials, before giving treatment, what is the temperature, and after giving treatment, what is the temperature. That is the before after scenario. For that case we have to deal with the paired observation. For such observations we need to deal with the paired observation to investigate the significance of the difference between the paired observation before and after type. Okay, or husband wife, or any such scenario where observations are related. Okay, assumptions: the observation of two samples must be obtained in pair. The population from which the sample drawn is assumed again normal. Let's take an example of a pharmaceutical company which claims that its treatment increases the weight of the subject. Okay, okay. Verify the claim of the pharmaceutical company. So we have to verify before and after. Null hypothesis will be there is no difference. Okay, enter before data, enter after data, and use again t dot test. Before data, after data, t dot test, before and after. And is our observations paired? Of course, paired observations are paired. So paired is equal to t. Let's move for the R command there. Before data, after data, paired. But I think I made mistake there. Okay, because in our example we have seen that their company claims that it actually increases the weight of increases the weight increases the weight of the subject. So we should go for alternative. alternative Alternative is equal to mu1 less than mu2, means the mean of the before data is less than after data. Does it make any difference? No. The true differences in mean is less than 0. Okay, before minus after. Okay, the true difference in means is less than 0. That implies before minus after is less than 0. So actually after treatment has mean weight greater than before treatment. So alternative hypothesis is true, mu1 is less than mu2. So actually the claim by pharmaceutical company is true, it increases the weight. Okay, let's move. Test for population proportion. Okay, to test the population proportion, P be regarded as P naught based on random sample. So we are going to test P is equal to P naught. Okay, the sample size must be sufficiently large, that is n greater than or equal to 30. For population proportion test, definitely our data should be yes no type or categorical, male or female, whether they are affected or not. This type of data is for the population proportion. Suppose Hindustan Unilever Limited company expects that more than 30% of households in Delhi city will consume its new product. Okay, if they manufacture a new face cream. Okay, a random sample of 500 households from the city is surveyed. 163 are favorable in manufacturing the product. So 163 out of 500 are favorable. Examine whether the expectation of the company would be meet at 2% level. So that confidence level part is equal to 98 here. Okay, now expect more than 30%. So P naught is equal to 30%, that is 0.3. Okay, we have 163 observations here out of 500. Let's put x is equal to 163, number of samples taken 500, and go ahead. As the name suggests, proportion.test, prpo.test, x n 0.3. Alternative, it is greater than, because they have expected that more than 30%. So we have to test is 0.3. Okay, and confidence level is 0.98. Just simple. In previous cases, in previous all cases, we have done t dot test and put observations here. Now we have to put proportion dot test and just verify the claim. Okay, let's move to the R code. Here x is equal to 163, n is equal to 500, proportion dot test, x n 0.3, alternative greater than. You can write here greater or g, it will not make much difference. R will understand it. Confidence level as 0.98. Okay, go ahead, run this, control enter. It's showing p is equal to, oh, it's more than 30% actually, no? What is the p-value? P-value is 0.113. So the true p is greater than zero point 0.3. Alternative hypothesis is there. Moving forward, test for equality of two population proportion. Suppose there are two tests and two treatments are there, and we are dealing with the two groups, and we want to check whether two population proportions are equal or not. Okay, based on the samples. Okay, okay. Assumption: the sample sizes of two samples are sufficiently large, n1 n2 greater than or equal to 30. Let's take an example. Random samples of 300 male and 400 female students were asked whether they liked to introduce CBCS system in their university. 163 male and 230 female were in favor of proposal. Okay, so out of 300 we have 160 in favor, out of 400 we have 230 in favor. Test the hypothesis that population proportion of male and female in favor of proposal are equal or not at 2% level of significance. So again we have to use x1 x2 n1 and 2 likewise. So we just have to put n in single vector and x in single vector. Okay, put that x favorable responses 163 and 230 in x. So we just have generalized the previous one sample proportion test into two sample proportion test. Okay, n is equal to 300 400. Okay, and again use that same test proportion dot test x n and the confidence interval. Okay, we can also go for alternative test that p1 is less than p2, p1 is greater than p2, p1 not equal to p2, likewise. Okay, so the enter proportion dot test. Okay, moving forward, x out of n, p value is 0.3, 0.30. That implies that if p value is greater than alpha, here alpha is 2%, so it we fail to reject h naught. So p naught p1 is equal to p2. We have to claim that p1 is equal to p2. Both um, proportions are equal. So we don't have that evidence to reject the null hypothesis. Rather, we should say it like that. To test that, test for goodness of fit. To test that the observed frequencies are good for fit with the theoretical frequencies, we can go ahead with test for goodness of fit, that chi-square test. Okay, the observed frequencies in the k classes should be independent. Sum over oi observed frequencies equal to sum over expected frequencies equal to the total frequency of the sample. Okay, total frequency n should be sufficiently large. Each expected frequency in the k class should be at least 5. Okay, moving forward, a sample of 1 week sales is observed as follows: 154, 145 number of liters. Okay, maybe milk or something. Examine whether the sales of milk are same over the week at 1% level of sigma. Okay, here the theoretical frequencies are, they are offering same or all over the week. So they have for the 7 days 1 by 7 probability, equal probability for all days. Many times it is not possible. uh, you may assign different probabilities to different days. Okay, likewise. Okay, moving forward, put that frequencies here. Okay, now we don't have that p is equal to 1 by 7 for all 7 days. As all are equal, we don't need probabilities. But if the probabilities are different, for Monday you think that there is a, or for Sunday you think that there is a high frequency, or number of liters milk sold is higher in Sunday, then you may assign different probability for Sunday or Monday. Here they want to check for the same, so we are not going to put p there, chi-square dot test, and just put that frequencies. It will work. Have I entered it? So here are 7 observations. F in F. Go ahead, chi-square dot F will be fine. Okay. Actually, we should provide the proportion here, but as we know that they offered same, they wanted to check whether there is same frequency for all the uh, week, all days in the week. So p is equal to 1 by 7 for all. So okay, we can change it. We have that freedom. Let's move. Okay, completely randomized design, that's one-way ANOVA. Test for the completely randomized design, one-way ANOVA. To test the significance of treatment effect based on the observations from n experimental units for k treatments or like that. Okay, assumptions. The population from which the observations are drawn is assumed to be normal. The observations are independent. The various effects are additive in nature. Errors are independent and identically distributed, have normal distribution with mean 0 and variance sigma square, that's constant. Okay, let's take an example. We would like to investigate the effectiveness of various feed supplements. Okay, on the growth rate, weight, that's weight. Use box plots and a plot of means to visualize the difference between the feed types. Use ANOVA to examine the effectiveness of the feed supplements. So we have these observations. Uh, these are the names of the feeds: casein, horsebean. Okay, 6 feed supplements are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 12, 12, 13, 11, 11, and 10 observations are there. Okay. Let's move. Here is the R code. It might seem complicated, but it is not. Go ahead, look for Y observations. 368, 390. We just have entered all the Y observations in a same vector. Okay, then n is equal to 12, 10, 12, 11. That's the number of observations. We have 12 here, 10, 12, 11, 13, and again 11. Okay, likewise. Then titles of that supplements, that is casein, horsebean, linseed, likewise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now convert that supplements into repeating supplement n. Why we should go for this? As we have entered Y observations like this, 368, 390, 370. So we are using Y and X. So that casein will be repeated 12 times. That horsebean will be repeated 10 times. Likewise, casein 368, casein 390. Likewise. Okay. So X, and we have to convert it in a factor as we have to use for the one-way ANOVA. So these are the observations enter. Put it into the data frame. DF is equal to data frame. As they have asked us to plot the box plots, we can go ahead, use box plot. Y curl X as X has that grouping variable, and our data is stored in data frame df, so we will use that box plot. I think I should go there. That's it. Here are y observations. Okay, n supplement and x. Here, see what actually x is showing. Casein, 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 it is 12 times, or it's been 10 times, likewise. Okay, moving forward, what we have? Okay, data frame. Here is the data frame. You can observe data frame by using that view command. View df, show me the df. It will provide us a tabular form of xy. So in x we have that food supplement, feed supplement, and here is a weight increase in grams or whatever. Okay, moving forward, we have to plot box plot. I will make a space pause for that box plot. So as we have used curl x, we have that grouping variable x here: casein, horse bean, linseed, meat meal, and likewise. Okay, 6 observations are there. Another thing, they have asked us to put means, plot of means. So instead of plotting means, I will go for putting mean values here only. Okay, so I will apply t apply on y by using grouping variable x and calculating mean. Okay, let's see what m actually does. M actually calculates the mean for all the food supplements. And as we have already plotted box plot, we can go ahead and plot points and color them as red. See what happens. Here is the mean observation. Okay, from this you can observe that mean of these linseed, meat meal, and soybean are near about same, but and for sunflower and casein the mean is near about same, but for horse bean and for casein the mean is quite different. So ANOVA will do the same thing for us. This is the graphical representation. ANOVA will actually calculate by using f test. And okay, what it is showing, AOV is the command ANOVA, one for ANOVA. Okay, ANOVA model y curl x, which is we have entered already. Sum of squares is given, residue sum of square is given here. Estimated effects may be unbalanced. That is the result which we have to observe here. Okay, let's take the summary of that ANOVA. It actually showing degrees of freedom, sum of square, mean sum of square, f value, and the important thing, we have that p value. Now that p value has e raised to 0.9 minus 0.9, that is 10 raised to minus 9. It is quite smaller quantity, point not 1 or something. So it's definitely we are going to reject that the mean of all feed supplement is same, it got rejected. Okay, moving forward, we can go ahead and pairwise comparison, do some pairwise comparison by using Bartlett test or Tukey's t test. Okay, but I'm not going to do this for now. Test for randomized block designs, that is 2 ANOVA. I should have written there 2 ANOVA. To test the significance of treatment effect and the significance of R block effect based on the observations on an experimental unit. Assumptions: the population from which the observation drawn is normally distributed. Observations are independent. Various effects are additive in nature. Errors are IID and normal with mean 0 and variance sigma square. Okay, let's take an example. University researcher tested the yield of 6 varieties. So again there is some yield and varieties. So A, B, C, D, E, F are six varieties on separate four fields. So there are two factor, that is field is one factor and variety is second factor. The data is given in the following table. Using appropriate model, test whether the yields of six varieties are significantly different or not. Put field in a vector. As field is a factor and variety is also a factor, put that factor function ahead. Repeat 1 to 4, 1 to 4. As you all know that we must have entered that data 3.22, 3.04 row wise in a matrix form. So we have to use that field six times. So we have to use that 1 6 times, 4 6 times, 2 6 times, likewise. Variety, for the variety, we have A B C D E F, this sequence for 4 times. So we just have to put that times is equal to 4 here. It will work. So now we have field is equal to and variety is equal to. Now we have observations. So we have entered field, variety and observations. Put it in a data frame df2. Go ahead, put that same command which we have used in one way ANOVA. Just little bit of difference that one factor is added here. Field plus variety. Observations, curl, field plus variety. So that second factor added due to two-way ANOVA case. Okay, and put that summary. Move towards the R code. Have I entered it here? Okay. Field, variety, observations, degrees of freedom. Sorry, it's not degrees of freedom, it's a data frame. Observe that data frame here. Okay. Field, variety, and observations. Okay, moving forward. ANOVA, summary of that ANOVA. Look, in the field case, p-value is 0.574. That implies the mean of that mean difference of that fields is not significant. So mu1, mu2, mu3 and mu4 are near about same, or we can say that there is no evidence that all are different. Okay, moving forward. For variety case, p-value is quite less, so we can say that the varieties are different. Okay, put that box plot for field. You can observe that for the four field the mean is not that much different, but for uh, variety case you can observe that the mean of f is quite less, and for a it quite large comparative to f, and the spread of a is not same as spread of b. That is the cases. Okay, moving forward, let's assign test for median. Okay, so we are moving towards the non-parametric test. Until now we have seen parametric test. Now most of the time what happens, parametric tests have their own assumptions. When their assumptions are not satisfied, most of the time our data is not normal. In that case we have to go for the non-parametric test. First test is sign test for median. For non-parametric we can't go for the mean test many times. Okay, uh, we have to use median test or sign test. For that case, sign test for median. Aim is to test whether the population median M is regarded as mu naught. Same as one sample t test where we have gone through mu is equal to mu naught. Here we are moving M is equal to M naught. Here we are checking mean. Sorry, here we are checking median. In that case, one sample t test we are checking mu is equal to mu naught. We were checking. Each observation in the sample should be independent of each other. Okay, Let's take an example. At 5% level of significance, test whether the median height of the school students be regarded as 135 or not. Random sample of 15 students are heights are as follows. Okay. Now, as we have gone through several examples, go ahead. Huh. For sign test, as I have already mentioned, we have to use BSDA package. There is a package which contains the functions for sign test. So we have to install BSDA package, import that library, import it in a library, and then x is equal to, put all variable values here, and just sign dot test x comma md, that's median, is equal to 135. Same for the t test, we have t dot test x and mu naught is equal to whatever that is. Okay, but here the small change is we need the package BSDA. Let's move to our R program. Let's check whether we have BSDA package. Yes, we have BSDA package, but though we have installed it, we have to import it here. Okay, importing BSDA package is not the difficult task. Just right click here, it will load the package. The package is loaded. Okay, moving forward, have I entered the data? Control F, sign dot test. I haven't entered it here. Oh, here is library BSDA. Okay, x and sign dot test. What it actually shows, go ahead, find the p-value, conclude from the p-value. P-value is 0.424, which implies we failed to reject H0. So definitely the median of that test is 135. Okay, we can also use Wilcoxon test for that. X is equal to Wilcox test, x mu is equal to 135. Median test for two sample. Okay, same, we have gone through that pair t-test or two sample t-test. Likewise, median test for two sample in non-parametric cases. To test the two samples are drawn from population having same medians or not. Assumptions: two samples are drawn independent, observation must be at least ordinal type, the sample sizes should be sufficiently large. Let's take an example. Using the following sample data, test whether the median lifetime of two brands of two bulbs are equal or not. We have brand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 observations and 8 observations for brand second. We have to put x and y there and put Wilcox dot test here. Okay, that's not that difficult. For two sample t test, we have used t dot test and x comma y, x y and Wilcox dot test. See the p-value. P-value is 0.1634. So we don't have enough evidence to reject H0. So we are not going to accept that null hypothesis. Okay. Moving forward, Kruskal-Wallis test. Kruskal-Wallis test is the alternative to one-way ANOVA in non-parametric case. Okay, whatever we do in one-way ANOVA, mu1 is equal to mu2 is equal to mu k. But here we are going to test m1 is equal to m2 is equal to mk for median. Median of k samples drawn from k populations is equal. Okay. To test the k random samples drawn from the k population having same mean. Assumption: the sample sizes of each sample should be at least 5. Sample sizes need not be equal. The frequency distribution of k population should be continuous. Using the following sample, test whether the mean weight of the children from three population is same at 5% level of significance. Here is sample 1, sample 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 observations for sample sample 1, 6 for sample 2, and 5 for sample 3. Moving forward, put that put that observations in y x factor 1 2 3, 1 for 9 times, 2 for 6 times, and 5 for 3 for 5 times. So we have y observations here and treatment or group or samples in x. Okay, so x is a grouping variable, y are observations. So same thing we have done in a one-way ANOVA case. Okay, we have used factor, we have used y, we have used x, and we just use their AOV y curl x. Okay, that's it. Now we have to use Kruskal dot test. Let's move. Have I entered it here? Yes, I have that. So here are y observation, here are x factors, and Kruskal dot test. Go ahead. Where is the p-value? Yes, 0.3405. So we don't have evidence to reject that the mean of all three samples is equal. They are from three populations having same mean. Okay, go ahead. Friedman test for multiple treatment of series of objects. Okay, Friedman test is alternative to two way ANOVA. Is alternative to two ANOVA. When you don't have normality assumption satisfying observations and there are two factors. Okay, to test the significance of the difference in response of K treatment and K blocks and L blocks or M blocks. The response of one treatment by subject is not affected by the same subject response to another treatment. The response distribution is continuous for each subject. Okay, moving forward, the following are the points given to the candidates by four experts. Okay, that is the case. I got a little bit confused as I'm talking about the two-way ANOVA case and there is only one factor. But actually, every column here is denoting the candidate here. Okay, one candidate. So candidate is one factor and expert is another factor. Okay, that is the two-way ANOVA case. So test whether the points given by the expert respectively to the 15 candidates are significant or not. Here we can observe that they have their score 7, 8, 9 or 10. So that is the discrete case. Definitely they are not continuous or normality following observations. Okay. Moving forward, we can go ahead, put df is equal to, put that all observations in df. Okay, okay, and convert it in a matrix form. We have done the same thing for two-way ANOVA case. Okay, matrix df, which is our data, number of rows is equal to 4, as 4 experts are there, and our observations are by row 8 7 10 likewise, 8 7 10 likewise, and last 10 10 here. So we just have to put that matrix in Friedman dot test. Go ahead, find whether I have entered that. Okay, got that. Friedman test. P-value. Oh, again, P-value is quite larger than 5% level of significance. So we fail to reject. But if we have alpha is equal to 10%, in that scenario we may fail to reject the null hypothesis that all four experts have same opinion about the candidates. Okay, moving forward, moving forward, let's go for the simple linear regression model. Regression analysis is very widely used statistical tool to establish the relationship between the models of two or more variables. Why is the response variable whose value is derived from predictor variables or variables if there are a number of variables greater than one? Then we call it as a multiple linear regression model. If x is a single variable, we go ahead and call it as simple linear regression model. Here for the sample purpose, I am going to use only simple linear regression model. Let's take an example with the linear regression for the following data. We have heights and weights for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 10 individuals. Okay, so we have to find the linear relationship between them. Go ahead, put that height in one vector, weight in one vector, and use LM, linear model. So LM, height curl weight. That's the formula for height versus weight, and find summary of that data. Moving forward, LM, weight, and A. Okay, and give the summary of. Look for the summary, whatever they have provided us. No need for these. Okay. Height, weight, okay. Residuals, their quartiles are given. Okay. So here is the case. So we have estimate. So we have y is equal to, I will use y or leave it. Height is equal to 61.3803 plus 1.4153 multiplied by WGHT weight. So this is the regression line we have. Okay, these are the errors, these are the p values, there are, these are the p values, these are the t values. Okay, their significance is quite enough that they are not equal to 0. Go ahead, f statistics is this, p value is 1.64 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6, that is quite very low. Therefore it is not equal to 0. Therefore our model is good and they are significant. Go ahead, look for the r square. It actually explaining the model 95% of the model. So we can go ahead, do as many possible things. I haven't discussed many non-parametric tests. Uh, you can also go for the plotting of that height and weight. Non-parametric test, we have sign test, run test, correlation test. Okay, we have KS test, but due to lack of test, I'm not going to discuss it. Hope you have enjoyed it. These are the some references. Thank you.